Welcome to the Solo Grind, where we shine a light on the raw and real journey of being a solo entrepreneur. I am Teresa, your guide on this adventure of going it alone, without a safety net and without the rule book. The grind is real, my friend, and so are the wins, the freedom, and the joy of building success on your own terms. I'm here to debunk the myths, share some laughs, and share what it takes to thrive as a go-getter, busy, doing it all entrepreneur. Hi, I am so excited to have you guys here for episode 2 of the season 2 of the Solo Grind. And as you can maybe tell if you're joining me on YouTube, we are adding a video component this year. That has been one of my dream big goals. And that's exactly what we're going to be talking about today is the dream big goals for 2025, how you can set some that are focused on who you want to be in the world, how you want to show up, what you want to create, and how you can use those to create your dream life. So we are going to dive in. But before we dive in, I want to take a moment to introduce myself. To those of you joining me for the very first time, welcome. I am so very glad you are here. I am Teresa Schloop. I am the OG Caffeine Creative, and that means basically that I am a brand strategist, a web designer, and digital marketer. I work with confident service-based entrepreneurs who are out there doing it all, being it all, go-getter, perfectionist, rocking the solo entrepreneur world and lifestyle, and bringing a lot of amazingness into the world. And one of the ways that I do that is, yes, I do the brand and the web design and those kind of things behind the scenes, but I'm also helping people bring clarity to their vision, clarity to who they want to be, how they want to show up in the world, and what they want people to say about them when they leave the room. All of that is part of the strategy that I bring into it. And again, I am excited and happy for that you are here. Being a solo entrepreneur, I'm going to take a side note here before we dive into today's topic, because sometimes being a solo entrepreneur is a lot of work and it doesn't always go easy. Sometimes it is a challenge. Sometimes you have kittens crawling on your shoulder while you're trying to record a new episode for your podcast. And check out the outtakes at the end of this episode, or go look at my story on Instagram if you're tuning into the audio version of the podcast to see how that played out. Also, it could be technology issues. Technology gives us all issues, even when we're good at technology. And so there are going to be days when you record something 4 times because of issues. There are going to be days when they're smooth sailing ahead. Whatever it is, whatever day you're having, I want you to know, my friend, that I am there with you. And I am toasting you to your success in 2025, to having a great year, and to sailing through those challenges with ease and comfort, because I know we can all do it. So with that toast behind us, we're going to dive into today's topic, and that is dream big goals. Now, real quick, I want to recap on last week. Last week was about creating a vision. And I want to kind of go through, we had a couple questions that I encourage you to answer for yourself. And you've got a workbook that you can download from my website, no strings attached, no email, no nothing like that. Feel free to download it. Or we've got in the show notes, I've got the questions that I had for last week. So we'll go do a quick refresher on those, but know that those resources are available to you. So the first question for creating vision that I asked was, what do you most desire to do with your life? What is the one thing you would do for free if you could do anything and money was of no concern? All right. That is a really big, deep question that is going to help you gain clarity on what kind of goals and visions and intentions you want to set. The next question that I asked was, why? What is it about this desire that you have that excites you the most? Now, for me, to be a little transparent and to kind of share my vision, one of the things that really gets me excited and doing what I do and what I would do for free, honestly, if I could do anything in the world for free, money was no object, I would be living the life that I'm living right now. And there is no doubt in my mind that that is true. Would there be some differences? probably I would have a little bit more luxury incorporated if I had more money to dispose of, but I would still be showing up doing this job. I would still be living in this house. I would probably even still be driving the same car because I love the life that I have. And part of that vision and living the life that I live is that one of my dreams and one of my visions is that I inspire others, that I inspire other women, especially, to stand tall and embrace the very best version of themselves, to embrace the genuine authenticity of who they are, even when others don't get it. I want them to be proud of who they are, and I want them to stand tall in this world. So that is what I would do, or talks about what I would do if I could do anything for free. And the reason that I love this is because I freaking love it when I see someone in that moment where they shine for the whole world to see. I really, truly love that. I remember years ago when one of my very first clients, a dear friend of mine, Susie, when she saw her website for the first time and she saw how I saw her, because she's an incredible light in the world, she literally teared up. She did not realize it was her on that website to begin with, because she had not seen herself as that light that I know her to be. She teared up, and it's an incredible moment. Actually, you can watch the video on my website. It's on my testimonials page. But it is the perfect example of why I do what I do and why it excites me the most. So that's what I was encouraging you to do, is to dig deep. What would you do if money were no object, and why? Why is it important to you? What matters to you that makes that important to you? And finally, how can you make this happen? What can you do to start making this vision come true? No matter what it is. It could be you want to have really amazing, flavorful coffee. And to those of you who make flavorful coffee, thank you. I love you guys. You guys are incredible. It doesn't matter what it is, but whatever it is, it's got to be true and authentic to you. And so when you have a clarity on that vision, then you're ready to set some really dream big goals, which is what we're going to start talking about here in today's episode. So, first thing that I want to say is that dream big goals don't have to be something on a global or national scale, okay? Your big goal is something very personal to you. And the only criteria that I think it needs to have is that it has a really amazing positive impact on your life, okay? That's what I want you to think about. What are things you can do that have a positive impact on your life and make your quality of life better? It could also make the people around you's quality of life better, and there's nothing wrong with that, but they should be your secondary goal. You should be the primary goal when it comes to creating these dream big goals. You need to be the primary focus, because when you fill your cup, when you create something amazing for you, when you improve the quality of your life, you have so much more to give to the people around you. And that is just a simple fact. All right. So think about what are some things that would make your life a lot bigger or a lot better. And again, what are some things that are simple and easy? Excuse me, I need a little sip of water. When you record an episode 5 times plus do 2 other recordings, your voice gets a little bit dry for the day. All right, so let me share with you. I'm going to share with you 2 of my dream big goals. Okay, one is from quite a few years ago, and one is for this year. All right, so the one from a couple years ago, it was probably about 8 years ago, was honestly a pretty small one, but at the same time, it was one that was a really big impact in my life. And the reason I say it was a small one is because I actually remember somebody, I can't remember who, somebody who loves me and their intentions are good, but they made fun of my goal and they thought it was a silly, dumb goal to even write down. And that's why I call it a small one. But it was something that had a huge impact on my life. And the goal was simply this. I wanted to go to the grocery store once a week. That was my goal. Now, hearing that, you're like, that's not a goal. Why is that even important? But here's why it was important. At the time, I was juggling a lot of balls in the air. I still had teenagers in the house. I was still doing some work for my old corporate life, doing work on the side. I had a home office, another office that I was maintaining. I was juggling a whole lot of balls. I was trying to get things going. I was volunteering. I had a lot going on, okay? Because I was out and about and outside of my house so much, I was conveniently located next to grocery stores. And so I thought nothing of stopping to pick something up. Oh, I forgot to grab cat food, or I forgot to get some creamer for my coffee, or oh no, the kids need this for their lunch. Whatever it was. I thought nothing of making a quick stop to the grocery store. Here's where it diminished the quality of my life. Quick stops to the grocery store are never that quick, especially at the end of the day. There's crowds, there's lines, there's all of that. So I had to deal with that. So it was taking time out of my already busy schedule to do something that I didn't necessarily need to be doing every day. Secondly, every time I went into the grocery store, well, maybe not every time, but pretty close, I was spending $20 to $50 of impulse shopping because I'm an impulse shopper. And that's one of my things. So not only was I wasting extra time that I could be spending doing something else in my very busy schedule, I was wasting money. And it wasn't money that I really had to waste. I was trying to develop a business. I had kids at home, all the things, right? So by creating this goal to shop once a week, I was improving my quality of life. First of all, I was saving time because I wasn't going into the grocery store all the time, and time was a big commodity. Secondly, I was saving money. I wasn't doing so much impulse shopping, and that was really important in saving money. I was also setting some really clear boundaries for myself with my family. I was making myself be a little bit more proactive in planning what we needed for the week and being on top of that. So that was a good boundary for me to be a little bit more organized in what I needed. I also was setting a boundary with my family to say, hey, get it on the list or make other plans. All of these things really supported a higher quality of life for me. And so while it seemed like a silly goal to whoever it was that laughed at me, it was a really powerful shift for me to make in my life. And so that's why I want you to know small goals can still be big, dream big goals, especially when they have the power and the ability to impact your life in such a positive way. All right. Take it to the other extreme. It could be a big goal. Maybe you've got something really big and amazing that you want to accomplish this year, and there's no reason why you can't do that either. It's a matter of getting clear. So this year, I do have a big goal. I really want to take my podcast to the next level. And let me grab my notes here. So looking at my notes and journaling and things that I've been wanting to pull into this podcast, my really big goal for the year is to reach even larger audiences. Okay, sorry that I didn't have this out. I want to reach larger audiences, inspiring women across the globe to stand tall and embrace the best versions of themselves. This is my dream big goal this year. That's what I want to do. And the solo grind is my tool for accomplishing that. Okay. That's a pretty big, lofty goal, and it is something that's going to have to be broken down into smaller steps. There's going to be milestones that I'm going to want to set in place to make sure that I'm creating momentum, that I'm achieving this goal, all kinds of things like that. That's a big one, all right? The point that I want to make with all of this is that you get to decide what it is. Your goal could be simply taking weekends off. It could be taking more naps. It could be more leisure time. It could be more physically active. Whatever it is, create a dream big goal that is 100% uniquely you. And I want you to be selfish in the best possible way. Okay? Dream big goals are 100% for you and the quality of your life. And I don't want you feeling guilty about that. It's not selfish to want the best in life. It's not selfish to want to have your dream life. It's self-care to work on that. 100%. Okay? So think about what you want to do what you want to accomplish in 2025. And let's take that and write it out. Write it out in a way, it doesn't have to be perfect. In the workbook, there's actually a brain dump page where you can do things in a section to do your dream big goal. But write out what you think you want to accomplish, okay? And either schedule some time after you listen or pause this podcast right now and go into it, because we're going to go deeper than that. The whole way that I achieve the success that I do is I go deeper than the surface level, and I'm going to share that with you here coming up in the next few moments. So, pause, do what you need to do to get that dream big goal out of whatever it is that you want, that selfish thing that you've not allowed yourself to achieve. Create one for personal and business if you want to. I have one for both. And put it down on paper, and then let's go deeper. All right. So going deeper here, I'm going to ask you a couple questions, and these questions are going to be in the show notes so that you can totally dive in and take a look at them. But I want you to answer these questions. Some of them you're going to go really in depth in. Some of them you're maybe not going to answer too much. Whatever it is, whatever you do, as long as it feels right within your heart and soul, you're on track, okay? So the very first question here is, what is one thing that you would love to do more than anything this year? The one thing. What is something that you've been dreaming of? Something that you keep putting on hold? Something that it just doesn't let go. Like you just feel the need to accomplish it. Okay. Write it down. All right. If you have multiple ones, write down multiple ones, but I would rank them by which one has the strongest emotion attached to it. Which one is almost the scariest even, or the most exciting. Fear and excitement actually are sister emotions, and can tell a lot about what it is that you're working on. Okay. The next question: what have you always wanted to learn, but you've never taken the time to do so? All right. Maybe you don't have anything new that you want to learn this year, but you never know. Maybe you do. Learning is a big part of my life. I love learning new things. And honestly, I'm always learning how to do stuff. This year, I'm learning how to draw cartoon characters because I want my planner to be fun and cute. And that's the whole reason that I'm doing it. Are people going to see these? Probably not. But that's one of my goals for this year of something that I want to learn. All right, next question. What are your top 3 guilty pleasures? And I use the word guilty kind of cautiously because it's not an emotion that I align with. I honestly don't really believe in guilt in a sense of holding on to it. I am quick to release guilt. For me, guilt is the emotion that lets me know when I've done something that is not, or said something that is not in alignment with who I want to be. And it allows me the opportunity to do what I can to correct that moment and move on. So I don't hold on to guilt, and I don't take guilt in pleasure either. Like, pleasure is meant to be enjoyed, but I know a lot of us out there, and I used to be one of you, feel guilty and pleasure when we are trying to enjoy something. We feel guilty if we decide to spend Sunday afternoons napping in the sun and reading books, or if we decide to indulge in dessert because we know we need to lose weight. These are guilty little things that we don't allow ourselves to do, but honestly should be part of our lives because they give us joy and pleasure. A good example of this is indulgent desserts. Now, having gone through this cancer journey, you gain a lot of weight when you go through breast cancer treatment. There's steroids, fatigue, thyroid issues that sometimes arise after the fact. All these things happened to me, and I gained a lot of weight during the journey. So dessert is one of those things that at one point in time in my life, I would feel very, very guilty on, okay? Because I'm trying to lose weight. I can't have dessert. I can't enjoy that. That's not good. That's not supportive of my health goals. Spinning out of control, all of the crazy ideas, right? But I love dessert. I don't need a big dessert. I don't need to have a big giant chocolate cake every night, but I love a little something sweet at the end of my lunch and dinner. So last year, I took something that I wanted to learn, which was how to make Swiss macaroons, and I used that to enjoy and participate in one of my guilty pleasures, and that was having a little something indulgent and sweet at the end of my meals. So I created this goal for myself to learn how to make Swiss macaroons. And in doing so, I have these nice little delectable, wonderful little treats. And it's a couple bites. So I'm enjoying that indulgence, but I'm still supporting my health goals and I'm still staying on alignment with who I want to be. Do you see what I'm talking about in this? I hope. All right. If you don't, text me. Let's talk about this. Let's open a conversation because I would love to help you get past guilty pleasures and just get straight to the point where you're just simply enjoying the pleasure of life. All right. Next, I want you to think about if you could spend more time with family and friends, what would you do? As solo entrepreneurs, we are by trade typically workaholics. I myself am a recovering workaholic, and I remember the time when I would spend 80 hours a week working. Okay. I remember getting up at 4:30 trying to get in a couple hours of work before I would have to make breakfast for the kids. And by have to, I always chose to and make breakfast for the kids. That's one of my joys. But then as soon as I got them out the door, I was right back at work. And I'd be working straight up until everybody came home, rushing to make dinner or rushing to whatever activity we had that night, and then maybe trying to squeeze in more work before I passed out. It was not okay. It was not good. It was too many hours. Okay. And what was really bad about that is that I was working so hard that I was giving the people I loved the most basically the leftovers. I didn't have much left to give when I did have a moment of freedom, but that's all that they got. And it wasn't fair. So I want you to think about that. If you could spend more time with family and friends, what would you do? How would you do that? This could be where you start carving out a dream big goal of taking weekends off or 1 weekend a month, planning a family day or whatever, something like that. Totally up to you what you do with it. But it's a good way to help you figure out what is going to be the goal that you want to focus in. All right. The last question I'm going to ask you, and in the workbook, there are more to go to really go more in depth, but I'm going to save some of those for the workbook. The last question here, though, is how do you define success? Now, in my workbook, I ask you about business success, but I want you to think about success in general, okay? And there's a lot of ways to measure success. Obviously, you can look at statistics in business, like what was your bounce rate on your website or how many people visited your website or social media stats and all that stuff. That is a way that works for a lot of people. It's not one that I particularly participate in, but I do believe in finding measurable ways to determine success. So, for example, one of my goals, my personal goal, is to be more active this year. Prior to cancer, I was a very active person. I love exercising. I love working out. I enjoy, hiking when there's an opportunity. I don't actively go seek out hiking, but it's one of the things I enjoy doing. A lot of things. I like to be active. I like to be up and doing and moving and participating. The last 5 years, I spent a lot of time on the couch just trying to recover. So this year, now that I've got my health back, now that I've got this 100% cancer-free bill of health, now that I've got this whole life ahead of me, I want to be more active. And that is my goal for this year. So how do I measure that? Well, there's obvious things. There's going to be milestones in my exercise routines that I'm going to be able to achieve to measure that. There's going to be activities that I get out and about to do. Maybe there's a hike that I want to do or a bike ride or something like that is outside of my normal everyday life. There's, at the end of the year, we're planning a big family vacation and just feeling confident in my body and who I am at that time is going to be part of this. These are measurable ways to determine my success. And that's what I want you to be thinking about. Or what are some measurable ways? And choose measurable ways that mean something to you. Okay. Tracking statistics, tracking numbers means nothing to me. If anything, it makes me a little bit crazy and stresses me out. So I find other ways to measure my success. And that's what I want you to do, is find the ones that work for you. Once you have these questions answered, I want you to take a look at that dream big goal you wrote down before you dove in to go deeper. And I want you to take a moment just to fine tune it. Okay. how can you make this goal that much stronger, that much more better, that much more intention focused? This level of clarity is what you need when it comes to really building momentum, which we're going to talk about next week, and accomplishing the goals that you want to accomplish. So look at that and fine tune this dream big goal to where it is something that just gets you so excited that you can literally taste it. Okay. Now, that is the meat of today, but there's one more thing that I want to talk about before I end today's episode, and that is the curveball effect. Because, like it or not, life throws us curveballs, and there are things that come at us that are unexpected that knock us off course. Okay. They could be something that knocks us off course for the day, and just derails us. Today, I'm getting knocked off course with this video struggles that I've been having all day long, and cats and spammers and all kinds of things that are throwing me off course. All right. Or it could be something big that knocks us off course for 5 years, like my dream to launch a podcast 5 years ago. It didn't come to play until 2024. Whatever the case is, we have the choice of how we respond to curveballs. Okay. Usually when a curveball comes our way, the typical knee-jerk reaction for people is one of two things. We get mad and we embrace our inner bitch. Okay. And we get mad and angry and throw fits and look for people to blame. Or we fall into victim mode. We get sad, we get weepy and emotional and look for people to blame. Okay. I want to give you another way to look at a curveball that I think is going to benefit you when it comes and how to respond to these. Okay. Being bitch, the bitch response, the victim response, they have their place, but it's not where you want to align. It's not where you want to stay. Not if you want to be successful. Okay. I want you to take a moment when these curveballs come to you. Have your moment set a timer and let your emotions go. But then when the timer comes, I want you to stop. I want you to pause, and I want you to see the curveball for what it is. And I have learned through experience that curveballs are honestly life's hidden blessings. They are an opportunity for us to stop, to pause, and to really take a look at where we are putting our focus in life and realize and determine if that is where we want to put our focus. Okay. So perfect example. 5 years ago, I had some really big, huge, lofty goals. And I talk about this in one of my episodes from season 1, which I'll put a link to that down in the show notes if you want to hear that. I had some really huge goals that I was going to accomplish. So it's 2019. We're coming up on 2020, and I had some really big goals. One of them was this podcast. Another one was writing a book. And the other one that I can remember offhand was a line of planners. I wanted to create this line of planners for people and sell them. Okay. Really big goals, right? All of these things I'm formulating, I'm starting to work on, I'm starting to think, how can I make these happen? I'm starting to do the behind the scenes work to get them started. And then the cancer diagnosis happened. Okay. Everything came to a screeching halt. And I had my moment. I had my anger moment where I threw fits and got mad and angry and why me and all of those things. But I kept it, thankfully, pretty limited. I mean, it came back a few times, but I was able to tap it down and take a look. And what I realized when that curveball came my way and I wrote down my dream big goals for the year, I realized that most of them were not actually my goal. I was achieving them because somebody thought I should, or because I thought I had something to prove to other people, because I was worried too much what people thought about me. They weren't goals that I actually wanted to accomplish. Now, would it have been cool if I accomplished them? Sure, why not? I mean, it's cool when you accomplish something. But the downside to accomplishing goals that are not really at the core of who we are is that you don't get that sense of accomplishment. Once that goal is done, you check the box and you start looking for the next big thing. You don't sit back and toast to your success and revel in the moment of accomplishment. You don't sit there and think, holy moly, I did that. This was amazing. You start looking for the next thing to accomplish. And that's the downside to those kind of goals. So when a curveball comes your way, you now have this opportunity to realize, do I really want to accomplish this? Or is it somebody else's goal? Once you have that curveball, my suggestion is to sit back and ask that question. First of all, whose goal is this really? Is it mine or is it somebody else's? And do I really want to do this? If you really want to do this, then you're going to know what the next logical step is going to be. For me, I realized I didn't want to write that book. I may write a book someday, but it's not going to be that book. I don't even remember what that book was going to be about at this point. I didn't want to do a line of planners. I don't need to compete with Erin Condren. I love Erin Condren. I buy her planners every year. All right. But I did want to do a podcast. And I knew that. And it was a dream that did not let go. For 5 years, that dream held on. Here's the cool thing. Yes, it was my goal. And yes, I knew I really wanted to do it. But I also knew that my next best step was to pause and to wait. And that's okay. Sometimes our goals get put on hold because they need to be. But when they really matter, when they're really something we want to do, they always come out. They always come to fruition. We always create them when we live our life with intention. And that's exactly what I want you to do. All right. So that is it for today. I know today was kind of a long one, but I'm so glad you guys are here with me because this is something that I'm very, very passionate about. Creating the life of your dreams is possible. You don't have to just react to the life that is handed to you. You get to decide what that is. And I am living proof of that because I've had a lot of crazy curveballs thrown my way. But I'm still here and I'm living the good life. I mean, that's my husband and I's motto is we're living the good life each and every day. And you, my friend, can do so as well. So thank you guys so much for joining me. Next week, we are going to be talking about momentum and building momentum on our goals, on our dreams, what that means, and all kinds of things. So thank you guys so much for joining me here. I look forward to connecting with you next week. And until we meet again, cheers to your success. Thanks for tuning in to the Solo Grind. I hope this episode brought you some inspiration and encouragement. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe, rate, and review the podcast, and feel free to share. For more tips and insights, visit caffeinecreative.io to check out my blog or explore the Creative Vault, my free course library. You can also find me on Facebook and Instagram. I'd love to hear how this episode has helped you.